unlocking your world of creativity with best-selling author and brand innovator, Mark Stinson. This episode is brought to you by White Cloud Coffee Roasters, where every bean tells a story of adventure. Visit whitecloudcoffee.com and use the code CREATIVITY.
Welcome back, friends, to our podcast, Your World of Creativity. And I don't know about you, but every creative experience I've had, it starts with a question: how do I show up? How do I show up with confidence, clarity, purpose, especially when the stakes are high? So if you've ever felt stuck or underestimated or holding yourself back and holding your best work back, then today's conversation is for you. We're going to talk about leading with intention, but also living with fewer regrets. And my guest is Pallavi Ridout. Pallavi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark. I am super excited to be here.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Pallavi is an executive leadership coach and a keynote speaker, and one of her main topics is on this idea of unlocking confidence. And your signature work, Pallavi, is leading a life of no regrets. And I just love this whole concept. Plus, I've enjoyed reading about, I'll say, the non-business side. Your global travels, you've gone to 30 countries, and you compete in pool billiards championships. What a fun side of your personality.
Thank you. It's a part and parcel of leading a life of no regrets. Do what you want to do, how you want to do, lead a full life, because we only have one life.
There you go. Let's get into this success with no regrets. You had a 20-year corporate career, global industries and entertainment and internet and aerospace, but you made this bold decision to build your own direction, your own company, your own path. Was there a moment, was there a fork in the road that made you decide, I'm going to take a different path?
Yes, the fork in the road was my father's passing. That was my biggest fork in the road. My mom passed away in 2015. And right after she passed away, my dad, who was the most gregarious, fun, successful person, and I really looked up to him. He was like a unique character. And he said to me, I am content. I've led a good life and I have no regrets and I'm ready. And in that moment, like I had goosebumps. I said, what do you mean you're ready? And I'd flown to India then to take care of some of my mom's stuff. And I asked myself, as I'm flying back, if something happens, could I say that I was good? Like I had wrapped everything up, and it doesn't have to be a perfect bow, but I have no regrets. And oh my gosh, at that moment, it was a big awakening because I had so much unfinished business and discontentment to deal with. And I promised myself I would do something about it. And I still didn't do anything about it. A year later, my father passed away. And that was it. That was my moment. It was like, I have to be my father's daughter and lead my life of no regrets. That's when I coined that term.
Yes.
And ever since, it's been quite a roller coaster, fun, adventurous journey.
I love it. And certainly there's the big life, of no regrets. But I think about even day to day. A lot of creatives struggle with showing up, speaking up, owning their value, pitching ideas. How do you coach leaders with that everyday confidence of no regrets? What's a practical way that we can overcome this lack of visibility in our work?
Yes, absolutely. I just did some pro bono work for the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Monica, preparing the youth for an amazing national competition. And these are 15 to 18-year-olds. And we were talking about, how do you visualize success? How do you get rid of those nerves, or as they call the imposter syndrome that's out there? I'm not good enough. Who am I to do this? So simple things are visualization. Close your eyes and tell yourself, I'm the bomb, man. I got it. Or affirmations. I'll tell you something fun. I believe fun should be a part of your life. So Snoop Dogg, when you think of Snoop Dogg, you think, oh my gosh, this guy who is a rapper, always high, doing his thing.
Yes.
He's a grandfather now. So recently he released an album on affirmations. And he has a song called I Love Affirmations, and it's targeted towards little kids, young. So you ask these children who are in daycare and kindergarten, they know Snoop Dogg, by the way.
Yes.
And they sing his song. And in one of the songs, he says, you can see it, design it, plan it, do it. So he talks about you visualize and then you think to yourself, I can do it. Don't be negative, have affirmation, positive outlook. But I'm a firm believer of also having a plan. So set a goal for yourself. It doesn't have to be a very big goal. If it is, I'm going to write my screenplay or I'm going to write my book, just write 5 lines. Give yourself a goal. Every day I'm going to write 5 lines. Start with one word and then move forward. So have a goal, have a plan, have a milestone, and work towards it. And even if you don't achieve it, it's okay. Progress means, you're making your way somewhere.
Mhm.
I'm a very practical person. So I like to give practical advice on how to break through and achieve what you think is impossible.
It really does help anchor it when you get practical, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
does.
And you mentioned this imposter syndrome, and boy, we've all been there. How do you help people overcome this fake it till you make it, acting, just performing? We want to have an executive presence, we want to have emotional intelligence, but we want to feel authentic. And sometimes this word gets overused a little bit, but we do want to feel real. We don't want to feel like we're just faking it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Mark, if you came to me and asked me that saying, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I want to do something beyond this podcast, but it seems daunting. So, one of the questions I would ask you is, Mark, think of a time when you were in a tricky situation, in a challenging situation. What did you do? What were your thoughts or your actions to make your way out of that? Not even get past it. What did you do to make your way out of that? And people have so many stories and experiences in their past life that they forget about them. And it doesn't have to be a massive thing. I rolled up a boulder up a hill. It doesn't have to be that. It could simply be my car wasn't starting that morning. And you know what? I figured I could ask my neighbor or I could Uber or like critical thinking. You did something. So that's one of the things I ask people to reach back and you have it within you. And that's part of coaching, right? It's my job to help pull it out of you or ask you very thought-provoking questions, which help to clear those cobwebs and make you have a little bit more of that confidence in yourself.
Yes. And we think about this word presence. There are certainly people that come into the room and light it up. They have this certain aura, right? But there's they might call themselves introverted, but they're certainly more thoughtful, more discerning, less verbal people. How can they stand up and stand out?
A big part of leading a life of no regret, I believe, is being strategic. So what do I mean by that? So let's say you're an introvert and oh my gosh, I have to be in this room with these 10 people. I am terrified. Oh, I just don't want to speak. What I say is be strategic. When you're going to speak, you'll speak for a minute or two. Have those 2 or 3 points that you're going to say, rehearse them in advance. Ask yourself, how do I want to show up today? Do I want to show up as thoughtful? Do I want to show up as friendly? Do I want to show up as quiet but intelligent? Whatever that is. And then you walk into the room already prepared in your head. Again, don't have a prepared speech because then if you forget, then that's a whole different debacle, right? Bullet points saying, I'm going to make these 3 points and I'm going to make sure they come across. Or if you go to a conference, a lot of people will ask me that. I go to a conference, how can I be strategic? Think of who are the 2, 3, 4 people you want to network with. And that's it. Out of those 100, 200 people, figure out those people or what do you want to learn about? Make sure you go to that particular session. So it's about being strategic. There are so many other tools and techniques you can use. But again, a very practical takeaway for your listeners is have those 1 or 2 or 3 points that you want to make and make them.
So good. I wanted to circle back on the Boys and Girls Club. You devote a lot of your time to these kind of purpose-driven efforts. They strengthen communities, they amplify maybe less heard voices. How do you think about what purposes or what causes that you want to contribute to?
Mark, I've only thought about this a million times, so I'll just give you my very smooth answer. So when I exited corporate, I had this gaping hole in my heart. And it wasn't because I didn't like the place I worked. I loved that place. I loved the people, the leaders, the individuals. What I didn't was that I was a really busy executive. I was managing global 34 countries, etc. No time for myself, my child, my family, and the community. It's something I grew up with. My father instilled that in me. And so I asked myself, I said, okay, if I'm going to go into business for myself, what are the reasons I'm going to go into business? So some of them were freedom, variety, being there for my child, that kind of stuff. But the other one was, I want to make an impact on this world. I want to truly dial into why I was put on this planet. And all of us, we should ask ourselves, who are we? What is our strength? What can we give back? So I narrowed it down to children, women, and the environment. Those are my causes. So anytime there's a cause related to that, I'm there to help out, but not just, hey, I'll just show up for a few hours and I'll do this volunteering. It's more aligned with, here are my talents, here are my skills. And by using those, I can magnify the impact on your whatever your mission, vision is. And then you can go and magnify it, right? So it's that domino effect. So at this point, I've come up with a formula, which is about 25% of my time or my efforts or pro bono work or discounted work, 25% every year is given back to these causes. And sometimes they may not fall in this category, but that's okay. As long as it aligns with my values and what the organization is doing to make an impact, I am there. I might do a board retreat for a nonprofit board. And right there, so the board is setting direction, vision, or guidance, and then it what is trickles down.
Yes.
So it feels so good to do that. And like tomorrow, if I were gone, I would truly say I have done everything in my power to make an impact.
That's so good. And you think about that age-old question, why am I here? Why am I put on this earth? But this idea of not only impact, but magnifying. Could there be a domino effect? Could there be a ripple effect that you make an impact and then others, you're teaching them a skill, you're showing them how to magnify their own impact. So good. It's a different way to look at no regrets. I want to do the work and I don't want to regret that I did it without making an impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. And you think about the special somebody that your dad was in your life and the impact he made on you. So it turns us to the book that you contributed a chapter to, Lives Lost and Leadership Found. This idea that we can turn grief, loss into something that inspires us. What made you decide to write your story and contribute to this book?
Ever since I lost my father, which was 2016, I have been wanting to write a book about him, but life was busy. I was trying to figure out how to be an entrepreneur after being in the corporate world. So he was just truly a remarkable man. He came from rags to riches. You hear all these stories. Oh yeah, he had nothing and then he made something out of him. He truly was. Lost his mom at age 5, father at 13, and no shoes, lived in a village in India. Just incredible story, right? So I kept telling myself I'll write a book, and it just wasn't happening. And then I had met Ian Ziskin, who is the lead author, about 10 years ago from today. Like we are in 2026 now. I met him when I was in corporate. I needed to get some upskilling for a particular area of my work, and he was running a workshop. So we met then, and he kept in touch with me. And I eventually joined a C4C, Consortium for Change, that he used to lead. And then he had a call out saying, he's a serial author, by the way, serial author, like you have a few books too, right, Mark? Yes.
You can't be stopped. Once you try it, you just keep, yes.
It's like they say, after your first million, the rest is easy. After
there
your
you
first
go.
book, the rest is easy.
Right.
So here's Ian, serial author, and he has got this way of getting people to do stuff. So he put a call out saying, hey, I've lost my brother and my mom recently, and I'm writing this book. And it's all around leadership, right? So who are the contributing authors? We are coaches, consultants, organizational development people, CEOs, senior leaders in organizations. So I was like, you don't need to ask me twice, Ian, because not only am I interested in this chapter, but this is, if you think of, I don't know if you read DC Comics and superheroes and Marvel movies, there's always the origin story. So this is the origin story to my life. Not only did my father give me life, but this chapter, and I call it The Last Lesson. Hold on, let me read the title. The Last Lesson, How My Father Taught Me to Live Fully. So I raised my hand and I wrote the essay. And it was easy. When you're writing from your heart and you truly believe in it, it just comes out. So it was very cathartic also to write it and to really reflect on what did he teach me and what has he taught the rest of the world? So that's how, it came about. And I wrote the essay. And my father, even though he was like a very successful man, he was the CEO of a company, that man was a funny man. And he was full of silliness that we could make fun of. And he was such a good sport. Just put a smile. Even now I'm smiling. Like it was such a deep loss. But even like when we went in India, like Hindus, you light we cremate, right? Cremate your people. And even after we came back from the cremation, as we sat around the dining table, the family, while we were sad, we were just having a good laugh, thinking about all his antiques and silly things he did. And in life, he made us smile, and in death, he made us smile. What a legacy, right? So I couldn't not write about him.
No, that's so true. And tell me about your creative process, especially what it was like for you being part of this multi-author collection anthology with a lot of different voices. Did you all compare and contrast your stories, or everybody just put their own fingerprint on their stories?
Everybody has their own fingerprint on the story, but of course, there are certain guidelines that were provided, which I was grateful for. So, how do you know when to stop when you're writing? Or for some people, it might be 2 paragraphs and I'm done. So, Ian was really good about that. He had a project manager and he ran it like a project, a good project with deadlines and reminders and a review process, making sure all the expectations were very clearly outlined. And I appreciate that. Creativity is fantastic. You should not let that stop you. But there is an end point to it. Like we all need to know when that point is to take a break or a pause. And Ian had provided us with those kind of stops. So that really helped a lot.
Yes. And I think about the listeners many people are invited to contribute to these kind of anthologies. Many people want them to create a collection and maybe publish a book. How has it affected or impacted you personally, professionally, writing for one, but actually publishing for the other?
Writing for one, but publishing for the other. There's so much power in belonging to a group or being a part of, I'm a part of the consortium for change, right? But being a part of a collective that, again, is making a difference. Is writing a book is not easy. Even writing an essay in a book, making that commitment, setting the time aside. And so it just gave me a really great sense of belonging with other well-meaning people who want to share with the rest of the world what they've learned. We read a lot of leadership books, and a lot of them, sometimes they can be dry. They're very concept heavy. This is a fabulous book for people who like to learn from stories, who like to learn from real people. So I'm honored that my essay about my father is, along with 35 other essays of incredible individuals who have done through their work, right? Whether they've given back, they've led people, or they've started charities or initiatives, or have been parents. We all learn from that. I'm a parent, so I've learned from the authors. But then what this has led me to also is this was the spark I needed to write my own book, because I had been thinking about my own book for a while. So, Mark, the floodgates opened for me, and I have finished the first draft of my manuscript as of December of last year. I'm very excited. That is Leading a Life of No Regrets, which is the story that follows the essay in Lives Lost and Leadership Learned.
Yeah, so it's good that led you to tell your whole story and your whole theme of no regrets. Fantastic. Pallavi, what a great conversation. Before we wrap up, I want to make sure listeners know how to connect with you online, your various LinkedIn, website, etc. How can we find you and learn more about your work?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Pallavi Ridout. There is only one Pallavi Ridout, so it shouldn't be hard to find. You can go to my website, engageleadmotivate.com. And if you want to buy a book of the Lives Lost and Leadership Found, it's available on Amazon and also through a publisher's website, which is Rutledge. But Amazon is a good bet.
Good. I'll put all those links in the show notes so that we can find you. So, Pallavi, as we reflect on our conversation, I loved when you said you love to give people practical tools. So, I'm thinking about somebody who's listening today, ready to maybe take a plunge with no regrets, something they've been hesitating to do. What's a small first step somebody could take, even in the next 24 hours or so, that would move them more towards a fuller life with no regrets? What's something we could do to start?
So first thing I would say is write it down. Whatever it is, write it down and tell yourself, and write it down with the I will statement. I will, because that is, it shows forward facing action. It shows that you're willing to go that mile. So whatever it is, I will do so. And then add a so that. Why do you want to do it? Right. So if it's, I will write a book so that, I will lose weight so that, I will so that. And then figure out what is the smallest action you can take related to that particular thing. If it is, I will lose weight, put on your sneakers and go for a walk. If it is, I'll write a book, take out a paper and just start writing your first sentence. So take the smallest possible action. And then the next day, double that action. And then the next day, triple that action. What do they say? A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step.
It does. Very good. I really like that. Just start by writing it down. That's often the best way, isn't it? There's something about that idea coming out of your hand onto a piece of paper and that you see it. It's very powerful.
Yes.
Pallavi Ridout has been my guest. Pallavi, thanks so much for a great conversation. Pallavi is executive coach, keynote speaker, facilitator, and her company ELM Consultancy. And I love engage. What were those three things?
Engage, lead, motivate.
Oh, I love that. So good.
Thank you.
Thanks, listeners, for coming by. I always enjoy these creative conversations. We travel around the world to have them because we want to know how creatives are inspired, how we organize ideas. We've heard today how to gain the confidence and the connections with other creative people to launch our work out into the world, and the impact and the domino effect, the ripple effect that our work can have. So come back again next episode. We'll continue these conversations and learn more. Until then, I'm Mark Stinson. We'll keep unlocking your world of creativity.
This episode is brought to you by White Cloud Coffee Roasters, where every bean tells a story of adventure and passion. Nestled in the heart of Idaho's mountain wilderness, White Cloud has been mastering the craft of coffee for more than 38 years, bringing the spirit of the outdoors into every cup. Discover the difference in their premium beans, meticulously roasted to capture the essence of the mountains. From robust, full-bodied classics to creative flavored blends, White Cloud coffees are designed for you to appreciate the subtleties of premium coffee. Now listeners of our podcast can get an exclusive 10% discount. Just use the promo code CREATIVITY at checkout. Visit whitecloudcoffee.com and use the code CREATIVITY for your 10% discount. Start your adventure today. Journey to whitecloudcoffee.com.